garage Vic Ferrari. It is August 29th. We're at about 103 degrees outside, 105 here in Arizona, and we're going to be dropping into like the 90s maybe in 2 weeks. But the mountains, they're already dropping into the 70s during the nighttime, maybe even the 50s if you get far enough up there. So I am beyond ready to grab the dune buggy, head for Crown King, do some camping, but I needed to update the buggy a little bit because it didn't have any way to haul stuff. So I hopped on the old web, got onto OfferUp and Craigslist, and I picked up a couple of items. Got some sleeping bags that are brand new, never used, 0 degree bag. Got 2 of those. I got 3 Camprite tent sets that are like the lawn chair with the tent around it. Picked up a luggage rack or a roof rack. So the sleeping bags I picked up, the roof rack, and the Camprite tent, all under $100. Matter of fact, I was under $75. So we're going to modify this, mount it on that, and I'm going to show you how that's done. Garage. Today we're doing some grommets in the top of the dune buggy, the sunshade on the vinyl, because I need to make 4 holes because I'm putting a roof rack up there to handle my camping gear. And the way we're going to start off is we're going to melt 4 holes in the grommet, which I've actually already got 3 of them done. And the way we're going to do that is with our blowtorch. Woo, baby. So what we're going to do is we're going to come with this Grommet tool that I bought at Ace Hardware. Comes with all the grommets you need. I'm doing 1/2 inch hole, and it comes with the setting tools, which I'm going to show you how to use in just a second. And it comes with a cutter. This tube has got a sharp edge on one end of it to cut a hole. So you put this piece of wood under your project, put your vinyl over, put this on, smack it with a hammer, and it cuts a hole. But the only thing is, after that, it could fray. So I'm not going to do the hole that way. I'm actually going to heat this up. And then I'm going to burn it right through. There we go. And what that does is it melts the nylon on the other side and the vinyl together so that they won't fray afterwards. That's very important. Alright, we're going to be putting in the grommet now that we've got the hole burned in. So you're going to take your grommet, you're going to take the piece that's got the long side, because that's your decorative piece. You're going to want to make sure you put that on the side that you're going to see, not on the bottom. Okay, the bottom side is going to get this thin washer piece, and the reason is because when you get them together and smash them, you're going to have kind of an ugly bend under there. So the way this is going to work is you're going to take your flat that's got your groove in it for your long, you're going to put it there. You're going to take your short and your driving tool. You're just going to slip this in. You want to make sure you get it down on a good hard flat surface like the floor. Take your thin piece, drop it over the top. Before you do that, make sure that you're centered where you really want to be. Drop that over the top, take your driving tool, put it on there. I just kind of like to double check that I'm where I want to be. I am. And then tap her down. And you don't have to kill this thing. You need to go a little bit further. And there you go. Now if you get carried away and start smashing the heck out of that thing, it's actually going to cut through your material. You don't want to do that. But that should be your end result right there. Nice, clean, flush, decorative piece. So we're going to need the half moon shaped piece of metal for the clevis pin to be welded to. That's going to wrap around our roll cage. I want those to be 1.5 inches wide so that the clevis pin has plenty of room. It'll sit right in the center. And I think I'm going to go 3 inches long. So first I'm going to mark it by scratching it in. I've locked my gauge. Just going to scratch it across. There we go. Now I got my 1.5 inch mark. Now this can be done with shears, manually, or if you have some Harbor Freight electrics that you bought for I think 16 bucks, you can just rip this stuff up. So we're just gonna go at it. Gonna cut it off at 2 inches. Okay, so what we got is I went and sanded this, cleaned it up. I haven't painted it yet, but then I set it on here, used this hammer and just gently bent it around the bar like that, and wrap some hose clamps around both sides. This thing is solid enough to lift the dune buggy up with it. Now we'll just pull this up, stretch the tarp over the hole, snap it down into place, and there you go. Okay, so what we're building now is the tube that's going to get welded to the roof rack. It's going to have a hole in it. That'll go over the clevis pin so you can drop your pin in. That way the roof rack is removable. So let's jump on that. Don't burn yourself. Don't go blind. Don't go deaf.
You cut off a 2-inch piece?
I work on a low-tech budget, as you can tell. I gotta switch tools. But that's what I like, because everybody has all this high-tech equipment, and a lot of people that want to do it at home don't. So just put your pipe in there. Doesn't have to be a perfect size, because once we mount it to the roof rack, we're going to grind off the leftover. So set it in your vise so that it can't roll. Get your vise centered. Just tap a hole to get it started.
There we go. Recenter. Drill through your first half, and then just let the pipe settle itself to get a good center on the bottom.
And there we go. So now that is going to line perfectly up with your clevis holes. You can have adjustment for your roof rack height. You can even take a little bit more of this off so that it drops further. And then once we weld it, we'll grind the top off this. Alright, so the next step is going to be making some plates to weld on to the roof rack. And my tube is going to be drilled and put through here and then welded. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the angle grinder. I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to cut it here and here. That'll give me 4 plates. All right, so we've got our 4 plates cut out, drilled them. What we're going to be doing next is taking this tube that we made for the clevis pin. We're going to put it through, and we're going to bring it up to about that level there, and we're going to weld it on. All right, so we've got our plates that we cut and drilled a hole in. We got our tubes, made sure that our pinhole was in the correct orientation going through for the way we're going to weld it to the roof rack. We're just going to spot tack it. So you put a small tack on it. Then you make sure it's straight in all the directions you want it. Then you go ahead and burn it in. Okay, we've got these parts done. They're welded onto the tube. They're ready to go on the dune buggy, and then the rack's going to go up. So I'm going to put them on, put the pin through. So I've got the clevis pin clamped to the bar with the hose clamps. They are 1.5 inch hose clamps. Put that through. And that's where the rack's going to sit, is on those, and then I'll weld it in place. So put it up there. Got my wife out here helping me. She's mad because it's 120 in the garage, and I'm making her come out. There. Now I'll just get it all centered up, and I'll weld it to the bar while it's in place. And that way, once it's done, it'll be all lined up with these pins. So you can always take it on and off. All right, so you can see here how I've got the tube over the clevis pin. The locking pin is in. I've got my half moon shaped metal on both sides, and I put some rubber gasket material between it. So let me hose clamp that down. Here's the completed roof rack. Looks just a little bit wide, but it's the way the bars curve down. On some buggies they go straight up and over, and it would have looked more correct, but this bar's out here, so it's actually not too wide. We've got the plate that I used to weld it onto the roof rack. Then we welded the tube into the plate, drilled holes in it, put the clevis pin through, and underneath here you've got the half moon shaped metal with 2 clamps on each spot. And then I had to rebuild this mount for the recovery tracks, because this bolt here was under that and these were underneath here. So I added on this channel iron You can see it there. It's really good and strong, and I cut down into the channel. Maybe you can see it if I get in here. It's not going to focus. But anyway, I had to cut down into the channel to make it fit. And that added some strength because this was a little flexy right there, but now it's solid as can be. Got a 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch there, and the pre-cleaner on the snorkel is now blending in really nice with the rest of the dune buggy. It was kind of standing up like a old police bubblegum light, so now it blends in and we're good to go. Now just to throw in the old camping gear. I got 3 of these Camprite tent cots. They're kind of like a lawn chair with a tent built onto them. And you can actually flip it up into a lawn chair actually and lower the tent. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the build. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. It is still, let's see how hot it is in here. 105 in the garage at 7:30 at night. So, and believe it or not, that's cooling down. It was 120 in here. Take care.